Yeah, sorry, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to mention another mirror thing, that the mirror, it'll show you what's bad, but it won't enforce. It'll let you make the decision to either correct it or reverse it.
Exactly, it'll just show it to you. It won't hit you or beat you into it or anything like that. It'll just show you what's wrong, and it makes it clear to you. And then it's up to you to do what you want with it, but it won't push you or anything like that. Excellent. Yes, sir?
Some people don't like the mirror. Because, like, let's say I'm looking at you like, you're a little pale and you're saying, oh, you need to comb your hair, you need to bring this and that tools, alright, you know?
Okay, that's a good point. And there's issues of self-esteem involved, and some people just and they have other issues. Whatever they see, they don't appreciate, or they would like it to look like some ideal or unattainable image. But if you compare just the mirror and the way it reflects and tells you what's wrong with you, the same way how the brother or sister will tell you what's wrong with you, you'll find some amazing comparisons. If you ever have time, or you're waiting for a class or waiting at the DMV, just take out a piece of paper and a pen, start to think of other things of how the mirror is just like split your page in half. One part is how you regard the advice that comes from the mirror and write it down. And the same way you regard the advice that comes from your believing brother or sister. And then the top half of the page, how the mirror gives you the advice, that it's instant, that it doesn't exaggerate, that it doesn't lie, and so on and so forth. Just do that, it'll be a great and fun exercise, inshallah. But we got into the whole thing of advice because we're talking about improving our akhlaq. And a lot of times people who catch your bad akhlaq are your friends or your close companions. And another thing about close companions is that their akhlaq rub off on you. If they have good akhlaq, it will rub off on you. And if they have bad akhlaq, it will also rub off on you. Even if it's just a little bit. And that's why the very famous hadith of the Jalis Salih, like the righteous companion and the wicked companion, is the comparison of the bellow blower, you know what that is? And the guy who sells like musks or oils or colognes. The bellow blower, this is the guy who has that thing and he blows air to the coal and makes it hotter for the blacksmith and to heat metal. If you visit him, no matter what, you're going to be affected by what he does. And if it gets really extreme, you might get burnt. A piece of ash will fly onto you. That's the extreme. But the least cases, you'll feel some of the heat or catch some of his BO. That's the least case. You cannot enter where body odor. Thank you. So it's you cannot walk through the place of a blacksmith and not be affected by anything, either smoke or soot or heat or smell or something. You're going to be affected. Some people in varying degrees. Your bad companion, they will affect you somehow. And one of my old jokes, I always use extreme examples. So a guy hangs out with people who are gay, it won't make you gay, but you might find one day as you're talking with people suddenly, you lose control in the wrist, So you will be affected on some level. Thank you, Adam.
I wasn't expecting that one.
They're just extreme so you can remember the examples. On the flip side, you can't visit someone who sells, oils or musk or perfumes or scent without getting some whiff of something good. So your good companion will have some good effect on you as well. That's why you've probably. Okay. So, anyways, so that's why we're talking about akhlaq, ways to improve it. Be realistic with yourself. Don't make excuses for yourself. Get advice from people and accept advice from people. And now, and that's what I was going to say before I swerved off. For you to give advice to someone else, like we said, you have to jump through hoops these days to give someone advice and have it accepted. But one of the ways is to make a deal with someone. There are certain deals you can make. For example, you might say, look, you're a good friend, I've known you for about a year or so, and let's make a deal because I like to improve myself, and I'm sure you want to improve yourself. And they'll say, yes. They probably won't say, no. They'll say yes. So you say, okay, so let's make a deal, me and you, that from now on, if I see something wrong with you, and you see something wrong with me, we'll give each other advice and we'll both accept it because we both want to improve as we agreed. Correct? Correct. Okay, definitely. Great. By the way, you don't have to make it that abrupt, but so now this is a deal. Now because they made that deal, it's hard for them now to go against that, because human beings, they like to feel consistent internally with what they do externally. That's why when you do something that doesn't agree with your belief, you feel uncomfortable. Human beings have the need to feel consistent with what they do and say, with how they believe. And that's why when you tell them, look, we'll make a deal, we'll give each other advice, the next time you give them advice, most likely they will accept it from you, because we made that agreement. Okay, how about this other technique here? You told someone, Ya akhi, just like the guy was doing to me in the car, he was saying, I love to improve myself. I don't like to walk around with a fault or a flaw that everyone can see, and then my close friends don't give me the advice. So, I would like you to give me advice. So then they give you a piece of advice, and you actually want to give them advice, but you start off letting them give you advice. And now when it's yours, and then when they're done, tell them, okay, now, brace yourself. How much time do you have? I'm just kidding. You just say, look, thank Jazakallah khair for that advice, I'm going to work on it, and now I have something for you. They're not going to say, no, I don't want to hear it, stop. Because now, this is now, they gave you advice, you give them advice, they're going to accept that, inshallah. Okay, so I think it's fair to stop here, right?
We have a list of questions.
Oh, really? Let me read them so I can pick the easy ones and pretend there's not enough time for the difficult ones. طيب صلى الله وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين جزاكم الله خيرا. Oh man.
Deep questions.
Says, let's start with this one. It's nice and easy. What if after you tell your brother or sister to fix their manners, they don't? Do you have to keep telling them or leave them? You can keep reminding them. There's no harm in reminding someone over and over again. And just, don't make it too overbearing and too, just nice and gentle and sweet. Every time, remind them again, tell them again. Tell them, I think you may have forgotten to do it, so maybe I'll remind you now. Go ahead. So it's not a problem, man. But if you're not doing it the right way, and sometimes you do it the right way, and they still don't accept. It's not a problem. You did your job, And you can keep reminding them. It's not an issue. And every time you think of creative ways to do it, I have one person. His father always drinks with the left, so I always remind him. And then he started to become creative. Like first, he would always tell him, with the right hand, right hand, right hand, And his father got tired of this whole right hand thing. So then, because his father eats with his hand, so his right hand is greasy and dirty. He doesn't want to make the cup dirty. So then so he'll drink with his left. So then his son has a nice way. Whenever his father drinks with the left hand, his son tells him, I wish you made the cup dirty. That's it. Nice or not? It's nice. It's different. You can keep coming with different styles, of giving the advice. You write it with a marker on their forehead when they're asleep. They wake up, they see it. Write it on top of their clothing, on top of their homework, on their books, on their laptop screen with permanent marker. Things like, be creative, people. Be creative. Okay. Can the shaitan get to you through looking at the mirror too much? It's possible. That's a hard look, though. I don't know how much. That's like a program. 2 times a week, I have to spend 3 hours in front of the mirror. I don't know about that. But I don't know what it means by shaitan get to you. But so I don't know what kind of program this entails. But generally, I don't know the answer to that. How can we become more tolerant towards other people? It's just training. It's a couple of things. Part of it is knowing it's all about the reward, people. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us so many times in the Quran, this is the reward. That's the punishment, because it reminds you, it motivates you to act better. That's why the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man kana yu'min billahi wal yawm al-akhir, falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah in the last day, let him say that which is good or keep quiet. But why didn't the Prophet just say, just keep quiet?